All right. So we're recording now. So good morning. We're going to be making our frog picture. And I think everyone here already saw it, right? Give me a wave if you saw the picture. All right, cool. All right. Hi, Vivian. Hi, Drew. Hey, Adriana and Diego. Hey, Ben and Nico. And hey to everyone who's not here yet. So good morning. What we're going to need to start is one piece of Bristol board paper, one pencil, and a Sharpie marker. Could be thin or thick. We're not doing painting yet. That's going to come in about 40 minutes or so, and we'll set up our palette together. All right. The first thing that you guys need is a pencil. Now, I'm going to use a Sharpie, and the reason I'm using a Sharpie is because if I use a pencil while recording, you won't see it on my paper. It's not going to be dark enough. The whole point is that you can make erasures, okay? So what's going to happen is we'll draw it out in pencil first, and then we'll trace our lines with Sharpie. You guys got it?
Yeah.
But I'm using my Sharpie. So again, I'm going to ask everyone to pin the screen with my paper on it. So can everyone go ahead and do that? I'm going to take it out of gallery view. All right, hang on a second. Exit full screen. No, I'm having technical issues. I'm just trying to make it so I can have my screen be in the spotlight. All right. Well, I guess I can't figure it out right now. That's okay. All right. So everyone pin the screen, right? All right. So here, I just want to make sure everyone can see. So we're working landscape. Okay, so not vertical. It's going to be landscape. I know you can't see that in my picture. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. You guys ready to start drawing?
Yep.
All right. This is the corner of my page right here. It's kind of an awkward way for me to draw. All right. We're going to start out at the top of your paper. We're going to draw a big leaf. I'm going to show you how. So it's going to be completely step by step. Okay. So once we have that shape, what I'm going to do is draw a tube down the center.
Your own shape. Oh, names are different shapes.
And I'm just going to check in with you guys and make sure I'm not working too fast. All right. And I'm going to mute everyone. Okay. All right. And what we'll do is like a thumbs up system. So show me a thumbs up if you have done all this. Okay, great. All right. So now what I'm going to do is make a little wavy line. It started right at the top, and it goes right over here. That's going to be the part of the leaf that's folded over. Okay. I am going to be teaching you guys lots of shading, color mixing with your colors. This way you can really get your picture right. Okay, guys, ready to move on? Yeah? Thumbs up? No? Give it a second. Okay. Still waiting for those other folks. I don't know. Maybe they forgot about us. Okay. So I'm going to start my other leaf. I'm going to show you where I'm making it. See, my fingers are at the top of the page. They're about 3 inches apart. All right. And it's about 3 inches from the other leaf. Okay. Now, I'm going to just kind of do this really slow. What I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna close the shape. You guys see how I left it a little bit open there? Leave your shape a little bit open. This is gonna be another leaf, but we're gonna do something fancy. And just let me know when you have that. All right, Vivian. Guys, good? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, now I'm going to show you the part that's a little tricky. It's going to be another tube. I'm going to start at the top. And what it's going to do is it makes kind of a swirl. Watch what I'm going to do. So it kind of connects right there. I know my hand's probably in the way. Guys, see? All right. Next thing that we're going to be doing in a minute is our froggy. I can't help but call it a froggy because I have a 4-year-old and she's all about the froggies. All right, just let me know when you have that. Thumbs up, everyone. All right. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do is on that first leaf that we drew, right beneath where we made the shape, right about here. See, I just made like a little mark. I just wanna show you. You don't have to make that mark. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a diagonal line that goes about 2 to 3 inches. You see that? Actually, I'm gonna make it a little longer. Make it about, I know you guys may not have a ruler and that's fine, whatever, you don't need one, but it's about like 4 inches. Okay? All right. Give me a thumbs up once you got that. All right, we're gonna start drawing our foggy. All right. So towards the top, right about where my finger is, and I'm gonna go slow and I'll show this a lot so that you guys can keep up. What we're gonna do is, it almost looks like a bear's ears. Okay, that's actually gonna be like, oh, Violet's joining. There she is. Glad she's here. Hey, Violet. We just started. Violet, if you can hear me, you're gonna need to join the audio. And what you need is a piece of Bristol board paper and a pencil. I'm using a Sharpie right now. Reason being is that you won't see a pencil show up on our screen. Okay, so this way you can see it. So you are gonna need a pencil and you'll need a Sharpie for the tracing step that's gonna come next. You're also gonna want to pin my screen, the one that has the piece of paper on it that I'm drawing on. So you just missed like a little tiny bit of the drawing. All right, so if I were you, I would try to get in some of the things that you missed here, some of these little shapes. And I'm doing this step by step with everyone. So this is a 11 by 14 sheet of paper. We're working horizontally, okay, not vertically. And what we're doing is I'm keeping everyone muted for the most part. There'll be times where we can talk later, or I'll, invite people to talk, but we're doing it like a thumbs up system. So once you finish a step, you'll just give me a thumbs up. Okay? All right. Let me see again if I can make my picture big. No, I can't. All right. It's not happening today. Okay, so we just started making the top of our frog's head. All right. And here's what I'm doing. I'm making, it's almost like an extra bubble shape over here. And that's going to be the eye. We're just kind of drawing the outer shape of all this. And it almost looks like lips. I know that these shapes can be a little bit hard to read right now. And I'm just going to close off the shape a little bit so you can see where I'm going with this. And remember, you do have a pencil so you can make erasures. So take a look. I didn't close the space right there. I left it open, and there's a reason for that. You'll find out soon. Okay? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make almost like a bottom lip. And I'll show you how to make the eye soon. And remember, you can fix up your shapes. Violet, you just turned off your video, right? Just want to make sure you're still, that's totally fine. I just want to make sure you're catching everything. And you can have the video on your face. You don't have to have it on your project. Whatever you want. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to move on. Okay, good. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my eye. So I just closed it off. Okay. And it is kind of a crescent shape, or kind of like an almond, like a very thin almond shape, and it's all the way towards the right. And then the other eye kind of is half hiding behind the leaf. So I'll show you that. Now, I think Frog's eyes might be able to like look in two different directions, or at least that's the way I'm kind of reading this picture that we're making. And I'm gonna go and make the nose too. Almost looks like watermelon seeds. And just let me know when you have your face. Give me a thumbs up. Take your time. I'm never rushing anyone. Okay, good, Vivian. All right, you guys ready to move on? Everyone, yes? Okay. Now it's going to start to get a little complicated. So just stick with me. I'll go nice and slow. Okay. So first thing I'm going to draw is, if these are going to be like his fingers. And these shapes are going to look a little strange right now. Okay, I didn't close the shape. I'm just going to bring this over a little bit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is make a line right there. It's like an inch from over here. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. So there's a little bit of overlapping happening. So when you're trying to recreate that in your picture, always just kind of stop, take a deep breath, go really slow. It's never a speed contest when you're doing art. All right. The slower you go, the better, because you'll be able to get it more accurate. Okay, that's my advice for you. So for this one, like another separate finger, they kind of have like a little round tip. In fact, we even have like a little line here. And then there's one more, and I know these shapes look a little bit disconjoined. I'll show you what we're going to do to conjoin them. So just like that. And now I'm going to just kind of put that little line right there. That's kind of like his wrist. And then I'll show you how to add your neck. So the neck kind of joins in right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the shape. This is actually a leaf that he's hiding behind. I know you can't see that yet. And we have a lot of fun stuff to draw next. Easy stuff from here. That was the hardest thing. And just take your time. I'm gonna have a drink. All right, I'm just looking around. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to move on. All right. I hope I'm not moving too fast. I try to pick a speed that is not too fast and not too slow. I encourage you to work slowly. It's never a problem. Please remember that I also record these videos and I will be sending right after the class. So if you were unsure about a part, you can always go back and I can always help you, give you guidance. All right. But if you don't stick step by step with me, it's really okay. You can go at a slower pace. I see you, Violet. So I'll just still pause here for a minute. It's always tough because there's always students who are a little faster and there's always students who are a little slower. And I try to work at a good speed for everyone. All right, so I'm gonna show you real simple. I'm gonna be drawing the vein for this leaf here. Okay, so this is a separate leaf. Not separate, but it's the leaf that the frog's on. It's not this leaf, it's this one. I'm not sure if you could see what I just did there. So I just added that, and that's the vein. And we also have to continue the leaf up here. You see? So I'm showing you guys how to add dimension, foreground, middle ground, and background. Your foreground is the thing that's closest to you. So in this picture, our foreground are those two curly leaves, okay? Middle ground is our froggy that's on his leaf that he's hiding behind. And then in a second, I'm going to show you our background. And I think I am going to show you that. The background's a lot of fun. You can go at your own pace with this and make it your own. I'm excited to show you it. Okay. So here is how we're going to do this. We're going to make a diagonal line that goes behind all this stuff. So bear with me. This might be the only hard part. And it's kind of like a tube again. It's a little bit tubular. Basically, these are shapes that you can paint inside of, almost like a coloring book. Okay, so I'm just continuing the shape. And I'm not going to bring it to the end of the page. I'm just going to have it kind of come to a point like that. Okay, and I'll show you the fun things that are going to happen from here. There's actually one more diagonal line, but these are organic shapes, so they're not going to be completely parallel to each other. They can look like their own shapes, you know? So I'll show you what I'm going to do with my other one. Again, it's a little tubular. This is like the vein or like the middle of the plant that we're going to be drawing. Okay, so I just did those. And I want to show you what's coming. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be repeating the same shape over and over. So just give me a thumbs up if you're with me. I'm looking at you guys. Looks like most people are still looking down. All right. I think I am going to start, but you could just catch up when you're ready. Okay. Let's start with my very most bottom shape here. It's attached to the bottom of this, whatever you want to call it, a vine. Okay. It's not a complete shape. It goes off the page. Okay. I'm going to draw my next one. so you guys can understand the rhythm and vibration of what's going to be happening. Okay, this is a complete shape that I'm drawing here. So now you can see what your leaf should look like. Okay, and now I'm going to copy it again. I got another leaf here. And of course, it's a little bit behind here. So I have to stop, think about it, and I'm making sure that the leaf is behind this other shape. So again, there's that dimension. Okay. I'm putting probably a few more leaves than our actual picture. It's based on that picture that I sent you yesterday, but ours are always going to be a little different. So I made another one there. And again, we're going to pause after this, make sure everyone's caught up. I'm going to make sure I don't move on without everyone. This is really the last thing we're doing here. And then when we're done with all this, you guys are going to be using your Sharpie and tracing your shapes. And we'll take a few minutes for that. So I'm going to continue. So now this leaf goes behind our froggy's head a little bit. Okay, there he is. And again, it's that rhythm. They're all kind of doing a similar thing. It's very predictable. And it happens in nature. It's really a beautiful thing. So this one's more like a complete shape. This one's going to be cut off. You don't need to draw like a vein inside of these or anything like that. And now I'm going to do the leaves on the other side. Should be fun. I really like the composition of the picture that we're working from, even though I'm changing it up a little bit. It's just a fun composition. So once you get into it, you'll understand how to keep making these shapes. And I have another one here. Just being mindful not to accidentally draw on top of a shape that's in the front, because this is the background. And now I have another one here. They kind of line up with the leaves that are on the other side. But again, make it your own. Doesn't have to look just like mine. So this is where I'm at so far. It's looking very much like a coloring book picture. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with the leaves that are over here. And you can, look up, watch along with me for a minute, and then do it at your own pace. So these leaves are going to be even behind these ones. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So it's the same plant. Maybe the leaves are going to be a little bit smaller, but they're going to kind of go behind these leaves. So this could be a little tricky, but also fun. And if you don't want to add leaves on the side, you can skip it. This could be more like a challenge. So it's basically the same thing. And again, I just pause. I make sure I'm not drawing through any shapes that are in the front. And it's the exact same plant, just like a little smaller, or it's further in the background. Because things that are further away from us appear smaller. There we are. Maybe I'll add one more right here just for fun. So I know that that's maybe a little bit hard to understand, a little bit hard to read. I'm going to just bring it into focus right here, what I just did. So you could see this layer really goes behind this one. And we'll take our time here. And remember, as soon as you're done with your pencil, you can look for areas that you might want to fix up if you have any. You may not have any. And then you can go ahead with your Sharpie marker and begin to trace your shapes. And I think I'm just gonna plug in my computer. I'm starting to lose juice. Give me a second. I'm just gonna step away for 1 second. Sorry, I just realized that my headphones were covering the picture. Can you give me a thumbs up if you're on to your Sharpie? Okay. Great. Take your time. There's no rush. Gonna give you guys another 5 minutes here, and then we'll begin to set up our paints together. This way we have around an hour-ish to paint. Is anyone all finished tracing? Anyone getting a little bit discouraged by the amount of work with tracing? It's okay. Art can be hard work sometimes. Anything that you work hard towards is usually worth it. So it's going to be worth it today because you're going to be coming out with a really beautiful painting in the end, and you're going to be learning new skills. I'm going to teach you a lot with color mixing coming up. So you'll learn new things and you'll get something really beautiful out of this. And have fun, of course. I think in a minute or two, I'm going to ask you guys to all show me where you're at so I can just see that we're all on the same page. I see a lot of students that I've known from the past. I'm glad to see you here, even if it's only virtually. And I'm Vivian, I'm glad you joined. I saw you a few times in the last series that we were doing, which is neat. So I'm glad you enjoyed it and you wanted to come back. And Drew, I'm glad you're back with us as well. And Violet, it's great to see you. one of the reasons that our picture looks different than the one I pulled from online is the one that I pulled from online is done in a perfect square, and we're working with a rectangle. So there's a few places where I had to improvise a little bit and make things up. So you guys have some freedoms here too. You can add, take away things, make it your own. All right, I'm just checking in. Do you guys want to just show me your progress so far? Maybe take your camera, turn it around. Let's see that. Beautiful work, guys. Wow. Awesome, everyone. Really looks like everyone's on the same page. Violet, just take your time. Drew, you're still working as well, right? Okay. Is anyone completely finished, or is everyone still working a little bit? If you're completely finished, give me a thumbs up. Okay. We're still gonna wait like a minute. Next part, everyone needs to really see. I'm just getting a few things ready. I'm going to show you guys how to set up your paint palette in a minute. So if you're all finished, the paint colors that you're going to need are yellow, white, you're going to need a couple different greens. So you might want like a dark green if you have more than one green, take out like all the greens that you have. I have a few different ones. I'll probably put a little bit of each. I know we have different palettes from each other. I put something very simple on the supply list. Some people might have more. Good, that's your palette that you can use. I'm gonna be using a piece of paper and I'm gonna pour them with you. This is the paper I'm using for my palette. I don't have an actual palette here. Plus I like to use something white so you guys can really see how I mix the colors. So I also have some red. Red's important. Okay. And you're gonna need a dark blue or whatever blue you have. I have a nice dark blue here. And if you have black, a little bit of black. So I'll start pouring these in like a second. Actually, I think I'll start doing that If you're still tracing, you can continue tracing. So I'm just gonna move my picture out of the way. And what I'm gonna do is put my palette, which is this piece of, it's actually like parchment paper. All right, we just need a little tiny bit of red. I'll show you the amounts that you need. With pouring paint, less is more. Because you can always pour more, but if you pour too much, it becomes a waste. Okay, you're gonna need a good amount of yellow. This one's a little bit clogged. Okay, I just put out that much. If I need more, I can always just grab. I probably will need more. Okay, now I have a few different greens. I was telling you about that. I like to put them in like a circle. I think this green might be really similar to the last one I put out. Oh, they're slightly different. Okay. Then I'm gonna put out my blue. Right there. Oh, you know what? That blue is a lot lighter. This is what it says on the container, but look how light it came out. It's super light. That's all right. I'll still work with it. And we will need some black. That's me trying to get the black out. No one's knocking at the door. Come on, black. It's like ketchup. Like that much. You can't even see what I just did there. And we'll need a good amount of white. The white is the opposite over here. Here we go. And give me a thumbs up if you're starting to pour your paints. All right, good. Violet, how you doing? Okay. Are you still tracing? No. I just don't want to move too fast. All right. I didn't see if Violet is starting to put her paints out. If you just want to give me a thumbs up. Okay. I'll give you guys another minute here. You're also going to need your cup of water. You may need to run to the sink and grab that. I'm using like a soup container. And you're going to need a few paintbrushes. I'll show you the ones I'm using. I just grabbed an assortment of different sizes. I may not even use all these. I have a real thin one. Thin one's very important. Okay. I have another thin one. I have a larger one and a medium. I'm just going to throw them in my water right now. Okay. I also have a paper towel. So you really want to set up your space. And you want to make sure you have enough room for everything. And you might want to put newspaper underneath your painting. Some people work neater than others. I don't tend to work that neat. So I usually try to set up my space, or I just wash my table right after. But it depends, you know, if you're using the kitchen table and your mom wouldn't be cool with a lot of paint on your table, I would set yourself up. And can you guys show me your paint palettes? I just want to see where we're at. Again, not trying to move too fast. All right, great, everyone. Let me see, Vivian. Perfect. Okay, great, Drew. All right. Violet, do you want to just show me where you're at? I just want to make sure I'm not moving too fast.
I'm just pouring the paints.
Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to paint. Okay. I'm going to show you our first color that we're going to be mixing. So I'm going to grab my medium brush. I try to wipe it because it's been sitting in water. So I'm just going to wipe it before I start. So we're going to be making the background color. So what I need is a little tiny scoop of black. Okay. I need a bunch of blue. Okay. And I need some yellow. We'll mix it up. I kind of want this to come out a little bit more blue. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to it and show you the color that I'm really looking for. It's like a dark blue. All of our colors might be different from each other's. I know you can't even see. It probably just looks really dark. That's the color I just mixed. Now with acrylic paint, water is going to make the paint more fluid. This way you can paint in between areas and it doesn't get dry. So this is the only color we're working with right now. I'm going to switch this and I'm going to put my paint palette back here. So again, this is the only color that we're working with right now. Take some water and I'm going to start painting. Now, if you've tuned in with me before, you know some of my tricks. My trick here is I'm using a fat brush, but I'm not going to do details with this. So watch what I do. So I'm going to fill in areas. Now I have a thin brush for getting close to, the shapes. I do that for a reason. You're going to be able to get the shapes a lot better with a thin brush. So I just kind of fill in areas with my bigger brush first. And this is kind of like your blueprints. It's to show you where you're going to be painting. So you're kind of almost like marking the areas. So yeah, I'm leaving a lot of space. So I'm not working right next to the line. And you might paint right off your paper. It's okay. And you could do this pretty fast. Since we're not doing fine details right now. So I mixed a good amount of that color because I know I'm going to need a lot of it. And I'll show you how to do your fine details next. That should be easy now because we kind of marked the areas. Again, I paint right off my page. I am getting my table pretty dirty. I'm going to give it a wash down after. But check in with your parents because they may not like that. All right, I'm ready to fill in my details with my thin brush now. This is something I do a lot. Actually, this thin brush is not the best. This one might be better. It's just very free. I've used it a lot, so it's hard to get the fine details with it. And you can start going slow here, or whatever speed you need. But now I'm painting right up to my edges. So take your time. Watch that you don't accidentally run your hand through something that you just painted, because you'll get a smear. Everyone's busy. I love it. If it's a beautiful day out, like it is this summer, and we have our class, you can also work from outside on like a picnic table if you set it up right. You just want to make sure you're working on a flat surface. So if it's a table that has a lot of texture, you might want to put something flat and hard, like a piece of wood or something underneath, underneath the area that you're working on, so that you have a nice surface. I'm just moving my picture around. It's always a good idea to move your picture around as you're painting. It makes a whole lot of sense. You move the area that you're painting closer to you. Sometimes I turn my picture upside down too. You might be working faster than me. Now I kind of accidentally painted a little bit over the main line here. That's okay, because when I go to paint this part, I'll paint right over that. So you won't even know. So you can actually cover up your mistakes. So I'm just being very detail oriented. I'm making sure that I've painted over every area and that I haven't left anything out. And keep taking your time. Something I might do, because I still have a lot of paint left, is I might go back and fix up some of the areas that came out light. Some of the painty areas that I'm doing came out a little bit translucent. It means you can see through it a little bit. So I'm just kind of doing a second coat on a couple little areas that I think need it. And you guys can feel free to do the same if you like. Make your picture the best you can. Now put your whole into it. Whole self. So if you can make improvements anywhere, definitely do it. So just checking in. Give me a thumbs up if you're still painting here. Good, I am too. I'm just fixing up these areas. I'm just making sure I'm not going too slow for you. Almost out of paint here. Out of this color, I mean. So I think I'm going to use my big brush again and just kind of smooth over a few areas here. So if you do this, it'll get rid of some of those brush strokes if you don't want to see them. It's up to you. Just kind of smoothing over. So again, this is just me. You don't have to do this, but I'm using a bigger brush right now. And I'm using the last of my paint. I put some water in it to make it very fluid. Again, I'm just smoothing over. It just makes it look a little better, for me anyway. You might be very happy with how yours look, though. All right, I'm going to be moving on. Checking in. Who would be ready to learn how to mix the next color? Okay. Just checking in. I might have you guys just glance up so that you can see the next color, and then you can jump in with the painting as soon as you're able. Okay. This part's also easy. So the next color, it's going to be a green. It's going to be kind of a cool green, but lighter than the color that we just mixed. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So just look up for a minute. I'm making another pile, starting with a bunch of white. Going to put some green. I put some light green. So the dark green in there too. That's actually the color I like. I think that's perfect, just how it is. Maybe a little bit more white in there. So whatever color you kind of come up with here, it should have white mixed in with it. Okay, and I'll show you what I'm going to be doing with this one. I'm just going to be painting in the background leaves. You guys see? All the background leaves. So not the front curly leaves, not these two big guys, just these background leaves that all look the same as each other. I'm using a big brush right now. Use whatever brush feels right. You can actually fix your shapes and clean things up. That's what I'm kind of doing. And again, if you have small, tight areas, use your thin brush. So I'm leaving some for my thin brush because obviously it's going to be hard to get this big fat brush into this little tiny area. So again, you're just using the brush that feels right for what you're doing. And it's all these leaves. It's also these ones too. And you'll see how your picture is starting to come together. You probably already feel like that's happening. I'm looking at this. I feel like extending the sleeve. I just pulled it all the way to the end. So even though I drew it differently, I painted it how I wanted to just now. I just changed it up a little. You guys have the same freedoms. It's your painting. You are the artist. Have fun with it. So now I'm going to go again and use my tiny brush and get the rest of the detail areas. Oh, and you're also going to get the vein, or it's not really a vein here. It's just the middle part of the vine. A vein is like the middle part of a leaf. I've been calling it the wrong thing. These leaves are starting to conjoin, even though they're two separate leaves, just kind of happening because of the way I'm painting them. So go with the flow of your painting. At some point, these paintings start to have a mind of their own a little bit. It's all right. Allow it. I just want to also let everyone here know that we are doing in-studio summer camps this summer as well. And I do have a lot of openings. So you can always have your parent email me if you want to get in on that. But I know everyone is doing things differently. So you might be doing everything virtually right now. And that's fine too. But we have both options. And we keep the studio very safe. We have a lot of new policies to make sure everyone's safe. And we just moved to downtown Rocky Point. We have a much nicer space than our old Miller Place location. Our new space actually has 2 classrooms. And now we have an office too. All right, I'm almost done with this part. I feel like I'm moving a little slow. Can I see everyone's progress if you're comfortable? Can you guys show me where you're at? Maybe turn your picture around, or your camera, I mean. Oh, nice job so far. Very cool. Nice, Drew. Take your time. I have a feeling we're going to go a little bit over time. I hope that's all right with everyone. If you do have to leave right on time, I definitely understand because you might have other things to do. But if you're able to, stick with us. Probably go about 10 minutes over. I'm going to run to the bathroom fast. I'll be right back. I'm back. Checking in. Is anyone all finished painting? Give me a thumbs up if you are. Okay, 2 of you guys are. I'm going to just show you guys our next color. All right. So it's going to be a yellow green. You know what? I'm going to put out more color. I'm just going to put out a little bit more. And I'll do it together with you. I was saying before, I tend to put out too little paint. Better to do it like that than the opposite. Okay, so this color, I'm not going to be adding any white to. What I'm going to do is just clean my brush off. That's important when you're changing colors. So I'm cleaning it on my paper towel. All right, the color that I'm going to be doing, I need a scoop of yellow, scoop of, I have this like blue-green, maybe a little bit of this one too. You know what? I'm going to put a little bit more blue out. That came out very, very yellowy. Hold on a second. I'm going to get it right. I am a perfectionist. I used up all my blue before, so I'm just going to put a little bit more out. So that color's not quite right yet. And a little bit of blue. There it is. Oh, you know what? It's very similar to the color we were just using. And a little more blue to it. I just want you guys to be able to see a contrast. That's all. Yeah, so that looks pretty different now. So I'll show you the areas that we're going to be painting with this color that we just mixed. It's going to be here. So it should look substantially darker than the color that we were just using. Of course, you can't even see what I just did. Was this a glare? Sorry. Trying to be mindful. Just don't do the vein. That's going to be a different color. Okay, you see what I just did? I just painted this top. Okay, I'm going to do the same on this other leaf. Except for this folded corner, that's going to be a little different. I'm going to leave that white right now. I'm going to slide this over so you can actually see what I'm doing. It's okay that if you're not in step with me, you can always catch up. I just want to show you where we're heading. So for the other side of this, I'm going to do it a little different. So I'm not going to paint that yet. It's just these three things that I just painted. Doing the same thing where I'm going to use a thin brush to get some of the areas. Again, I'm going to make sure my brush is nice and clean. And now I can use this, get my details. Again, I'm not doing this part. I know it seems like you should, but don't. And again, kind of fixing up these areas over here. You can fix up anything you feel needs fixing up. While I'm waiting for you guys, I'm going to fix up some of my leaves from the last part. See something that needs fixing. Just checking in. Did anyone already paint those big leaves? If you did, give me a thumbs up. Okay, again, just trying to make sure I'm not working too fast. I'm gonna show you how I mix our next color. So you have, I'll show you here. You have this pile of green that you just mixed, and you have yellow. It's mostly gonna be yellow. Okay, you don't need a lot of this either. So mostly yellow, touch of that color you just mixed. It should be kind of like a greeny yellow. Maybe a little bit more. Guys got that? So it's that color that you were just using, that green that you were just using. You're just taking a touch of that, moving it in to your yellow. You can use all your yellow. We'll probably have to pour out more for like other parts. Okay? We're using the same yellow for a few things. I'll be showing you. So I'm going to use it first inside the middle of each of these, the curly plants. I don't know what they're called. I saved the frog for last because I think he might be the hardest. Kind of working our way up to him. A lot of this is to train our hands too. If you try to do the most complicated thing first in your picture, I find for me, it doesn't always come out the best because my hand hasn't had that training. So now we have, a half an hour of training behind us and your hand's ready to really do the next part. Okay, I'm gonna do my other vein. So I'm all about tricks when I'm doing my art. And I like to share my tricks with you guys. Make things a little easier. Okay, I'm also going to use this same color, the yellowy green, for this part of the leaf here that's folded over. Now over here, it's hard to tell, but this is actually folding over this part of the leaf. It's hard to see that. What I'm going to do is just add a little bit of straight blue right to the area where it folds. You can see shadow. It should kind of blend with what you have there already. So now I just added a little bit of dimension. I'll show you what I mean. So right here, again, just adding some straight blue. And it's just to kind of show shadow. You can even add a touch of black there, just a touch. A little goes a long way. And kind of blend it in. There's a little bit of blending happening here. You guys see? And I'm trying to blend it with that other color. So I still have a lot of that color. Just bringing a little bit of that back. It's a nice even blend. All right, so now you can actually tell that that leaf is folded over. Okay, now for the other side of this leaf, this yellow that you mixed before, I'm gonna add a bunch of your green that you mixed earlier. Mix it together. So the green should be a little bit lighter than on the other side. Just slightly lighter. It's going to be hard to tell right now if one thing is lighter than the other. When your whole picture's finished, you'll really be able to see it. So you just have to kind of trust here. Just check it in. Is everyone still painting? If you're still painting, give me a big thumbs up. Good. I'm going to put out a little bit more yellow because we're going to need it for the future. Now the frog is going to be a little bit tricky, but that's all right. We'll be fine. But I'm going to do it step by step with you when you guys are ready. And you can give your neck a little crack. Sometimes as an artist, we're in the same position for a long time. It's a lot of sitting sometimes. I feel like I have to move around. All right. How are you doing, Adriana? You're all finished? Okay. Is anyone else all finished? Hey, Vivian, Ben and Nico, just Nico or Ben? How about you, Drew? All right, just take your time. Remember, I'm doing a recording of this. If you need it, we can always, you can look back at it. Give me about a half an hour after our class is over, and I'll send the email to everyone with the video. So it's okay to take more time. I have to do things within our hour and a half time constraint that we have, but it's fine if you take longer. All right. So we're going to use our thin brush. Right now we're going to be mixing in orange. Okay. So we need a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red. So again, a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red. A bit more yellow. Kind of like a reddy orange. Sunset orange. See? Very pretty, actually. So I'm going to be using this color for our frog's fingers. There's going to be a little bit of blending that happens too. What I'm going to do to start, though, is I'm just going to fill them in solid with the color I just mixed. If you see me leaving out an area, there's a reason for it. So you can do the same. Okay, I'm going to use the same color around the eyes. So I guess we really didn't need as much of that color as I thought we would. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to be mixing, well, actually, I'm going to use a little bit of yellow first. And take a little bit of straight yellow. See? And what I'm going to do Just put a little bit of yellow here. So maybe just look up. This is how I'm adding dimension, contrast, shadow into my frog. I'm gonna put some here too, just a dab. Okay, I'm also gonna put some here. And I'm gonna put some here. Okay. And I'm gonna put a little bit in the eye. Just a little bit. Towards the top, actually. But I'll leave the bottom alone. These are all just like little tricks. You know, just make your picture more interesting. Okay, guys. Next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to mix the color for our frog. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this green that I already have. This one here. You guys should have a pile of this. It's the color that we used for the foreground leaves. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add yellow to it. A bunch of yellow. And I'm going to add some white. It's kind of a pale green. Okay. And you also should have the other green that you used before for the other part of your plant. We might come back and use that too. I do a lot of times use colors that we've already mixed and mix other colors into them. Okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be painting the frog solid with the color I just mixed. And then we're going to play. I do it the same way. I'm going to use my little brush in a second. I kind of tend to fill in the big areas first. Now, if you're painting right over your marker line, that's all right. We might even paint in those areas at the end. Or we can wait until everything dries and use a Sharpie over it. So just make sure you can still see it underneath. I still see mine underneath. And your whole frog, you're going to paint him this color. So he should be that solid green. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some straight white to the center. Again, this is going to show dimension. So I dip directly in the white. And I know it's probably very hard to see your pencil or marker lines at this point. That's okay. I'll help you get them back. So it's really just in the center. So what should be happening is it's still a green, but it's much lighter green than the green that we originally mixed, just in the center. So what it's going to do is show the texture, the shape of our frog. I add a little bit into his legs too. And I'm going to paint his eyes black. So when I do that, I'm going to mix a separate pile of black and add a bit of water to it to make it very fluid. If the paint's too thick, you'll have less control with it. And I'll even show you how to put a little bit of white in his eye to show the light reflecting off. I'll do that with you in a second. Actually, we'll do it once this dries. Now I just made my thin brush very sharp. I'll show you how I did that. I dipped in the water. I pat against my paper towel to get the water off. And then I go like this with my fingers. Can you see? I know it's hard to see. I'm just kind of working it to the shape that I want it in. It's extremely thin now. My video keeps freezing. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't see. There I am. Okay. So it's very, very, very thin. Oh, Rosie Cat just wants to say hi. Hi. And I told you I was going to bring those shapes back. So what I'm going to do, and again, you can wait with this and do it with Sharpie later, or you can do it with your paintbrush now. It's up to you. Just make sure that your thin brush is extremely thin. Now I want to watch The Princess and the Frog. It's like one of my daughter's favorite movies. So I'm using my paintbrush like it's a Sharpie marker. And I'm just going back over some of the lines that I lost. Just in my frog. But you want them very, very, very thin. And we just went into overtime, guys, just so you know. I hope you can stay with me for another couple minutes, though. We'll be done by 10 after, I should say 11:40. So again, I'm just reshaping my paintbrush. And we'll clean up the shape here. Okay, so I just clean that up. All right. I'll show you how to make the little dot in his eye to show the light reflecting. Again, I want my brush to be really thin. I dip directly in my white. And I'm just gonna put a couple dots. Just like that. So for the last part, we have another leaf to still paint. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit. So I have this color I used for the frog. I'm gonna add a little bit of my like darker, more blue-green kind of green to this. And maybe a bit more yellow since I have it. You're going to need a tiny bit of red for this part in a minute. So actually, I think I'll add a little bit of white to the color. Just a little tiny bit. Sometimes it takes a couple test runs to get it right. Doing the same way I always do, using my big brush first for the big areas, saving the small areas. the tight areas for my other brush, for my like skinny brush. I just realized this area up here, that dark blue that we used before goes up here too. So save that for the end. Sorry, I didn't realize that earlier. Again, we did have to change the dimensions a little bit of our picture to fit a rectangle shape, since that's what we're working with, because our original picture was a square. Again, I'm going to go use my little tiny brush now. I'm getting in between my lines. So I did say that we would use a little bit of that orange that we mixed earlier. I'm going to put a little tiny bit of that in my leaf here towards the vein. I didn't paint the vein yet. So the cactus swatted at my paintbrush. She's so bad. I love her though. That's my Rosie girl. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. So I just added a little tiny bit of that orange, kind of blending it in here with my green. And I can do that because it's still wet. And what I can also do is mix a little bit more of that green in at the same time to help with the blend, because I still have it and I still have a pile of it wet. I'm gonna add a little bit of that same color to the other side. That's also going to show a little bit of shadow with our leaf here, the overlapping leaf. So just a couple little tricks. And now I'm going to go back to that original green and I'm going to blend it. That just got very red. Clean my brush, coming back. And I'm just blending my green with this orangey color. And I'm painting all over my table. Okay, I'm going to come back to the vein on the leaf here. It's going to be white with a little tiny bit of green mixed in. So it's very, very light. It's almost just like white. Okay, I just did that. And now we have this up here. You should still have that original color that you mixed, that really dark blue. Add a little bit of water to it to reactivate it. That's going to be the color for up here. Just keep swirling it. So put water in with it because it probably dried by now, and just keep swirling. I know I have a glare here. You can't really see what I'm doing. And I'll show you some little tricks. So just for fun, what you can do is you can take your thin brush, if you're all finished and you want to just do some detailing stuff. You can use that thin brush again, clean it up, go like this. So I'm just making the tip of it really sharp. And I'm going to go back in my black, and I can outline. You can just pick and choose a few lines. Don't go crazy and do every line in your picture. Just pick a few that feel like they need a little bit of touching up. So I'm just fixing up the line for my little 5 years. So I just went and kind of traced them. I'm also going to trace, this is just me. I'm just going to also trace this. And then I'm going to check in with you guys in like a second. See how everyone did or is doing. Okay, so trace over this one. See, I said don't go crazy tracing, and here I am going crazy tracing. I'm happy with it, how it is. So I'll show you guys. What? I just touched the edge and it's still wet. I'll show you guys how mine came out. Can you guys all hold up your pictures? And I think what I'll do is I'll do a screenshot. Hold on. Did I get it? Oh, of course I just did that. All right. So just, can everyone just hold up their picture for a second? Okay. Just keep it up. Don't stop. I just took a picture. It's a little screenshot. Let me do it one more time just to make sure I get a good one. Because when I make this into a video later, I'll use this as like the head picture for it. Guys, ready? 1, 2, 3. Screenshot. All right. So I'll be sending you guys the video in like a half an hour. Did you guys have fun today? Give me a thumbs up. Awesome. All right. I will see you guys next Wednesday. And take care. Bye, everyone.